Hello, Learn to Grow family. This is Mr. Jonathan, and today we're going to be doing a read aloud book. It is Rabbids Invasion: Attack of the Zombie Rabbids, and it is written by Maggie Testa and illustrated by Shane L. Johnson. Let's begin. Chapter 1: Delicious Looking Round Things. It was a quiet day at the mall. A rabbit was strolling along cleaning his armpits with an armpit brush, also known as a toothbrush, but the rabbit didn't know that. As he wandered down the hallway, something caught his attention. What do you guys think caught his attention? It was a group of 3 rabbits. One of them was wearing a cereal box on his head. One of them was just standing there. And one of them was holding something. The something was round. The something had a hole in the center. The something looked delicious. The rabbit licked his lips. He had to have it. Do you guys recognize what that round thing is? The rabbit walked over, ready for a trade. He offered his shiny red armpit brush in exchange for the delicious-looking round thing, also known as a donut, but the rabbit didn't know that. The other rabbits looked at their box filled with donuts, and then they looked at the armpit brush. One of the rabbits walked over with the treat. It looked like he was going to make the trade. The first rabbit handed over his armpit brush. He couldn't wait to try the delicious-looking round thing, but just as the other rabbit was about to hand it over, he shoved it in his mouth instead. Chapter 2: Green delicious-looking round things. The first rabbit was upset. It wasn't fair. He hung his head in sorrow as he rode down the escalator. In response, the other rabbits threw the armpit brush at his head. Thwack! He looked up at the group of rabbits who were taunting him from above. This meant that he wasn't looking when he reached the end of the escalator. Plonk! He tripped and fell face down on the floor. Laughed the other rabbits. The rabbit shook his fist in the direction of the mean rabbits. Then he stormed away. But all was not lost. He soon came across something very interesting. It was another box filled with delicious-looking round things. They even looked more delicious than the ones in the last box because this time they were green. Things were looking up. The rabbit ran over and tossed one in his mouth before any of the rabbits could come by and steal them from him. He thought he'd feel great just like the other rabbits did, but instead, he doubled over in pain. What was happening? Do those donuts look like they're in good shape? Just then, 2 other rabbits walked by. One of them poked him with the leek he was holding, because why wouldn't he be holding a leek? At first, the rabbit didn't respond, so the other rabbit kept poking. Then he turned around. The rabbit groaned. He shuffled across the floor. He turned green, just like the green delicious-looking round thing he had eaten. He had turned into a zombie rabbit. Chapter 3: Escape from the Zombie Rabbit. The other 2 rabbits screamed and ran away to hide because, well, who wouldn't hide from a zombie rabbit? But from their hiding place, they noticed something. It was the zombie rabbit's box filled with green delicious-looking round things. What do you guys think? You think they're going to eat them or they're going to throw them away? They didn't know that it was these same donuts that had caused the first rabbit to turn into a zombie. And so they definitely didn't know that these donuts would do the same thing to them. All they knew was that they had to feast on them right away. They just had to get past the scary green zombie rabbit first. It was worth the risk. The rabbits ducked down. They jumped. They slid on their bellies. But it was actually pretty easy to get around the zombie rabbit. Zombies are very slow after all. But then, just as the rabbits were about to dig in, the zombie rabbit turned around and started shuffling back toward them. The rabbits screamed. They had to get themselves and the green delicious-looking round things somewhere safe. The rabbits grabbed the box and ran to the escalator. They thought they could make a quick getaway, but of course they chose the down escalator instead of the one going up. They struggled and went nowhere until a woman with a cart ran into them. She was so interested in her phone that she didn't even notice the two Rabbids that had joined her for the ride. The Rabbids came right back down and were face to face with the zombie Rabbid. Again, this was not good. There was only one thing left to do. Whack, whack, whack. They started throwing their precious green donuts at the zombie Rabbid, but he just kept coming. Bah, wah, 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 the Rabbids cried. They ran into the elevator now, and this time they managed to get to the second floor. Could they finally eat the rest of their green, delicious-looking round things in peace? No! When they got to the second floor, they saw something else they didn't like. Other Rabbids. They weren't zombie Rabbids, but they would certainly try to steal their green, delicious-looking round things. Rabbids like delicious-looking food. You see, the Rabbids went right back down. As you probably could have guessed, when the elevator door opened, there was a deep rah. There was the zombie Rabbid again. He groaned and shuffled right over to the two Rabbids. The Rabbids ran as fast as they could away from him, right into a photo booth. They closed the curtain. But were they finally safe? They shivered in fear and hugged one another as they waited in silence for the zombie Rabbid to walk by. When they didn't hear the zombie Rabbid anymore, one of the Rabbids peeked out his head from behind the curtain to check that the coast was clear. But he only checked one direction. The two Rabbids ran out of the photo booth and straight into the zombie Rabbid. Panicking, the Rabbids ran over the other way until they came to a dead end made of boxes. Or at least they thought it was a dead end. The Rabbids didn't check to see if they could go around. The zombie Rabbid was closing in. What would they do? One of the Rabbids tried running into the dead end to knock it over. He only managed to nearly knock himself out. Then the other Rabbid climbed up the boxes. Bow, wow, 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 wow. He laughed at his partner below. He was about to leave his partner in the dust when the other Rabbid hopped up too. Then they both jumped off and continued running. Chapter 4, Snack Time. The Rabbids were still looking for a place to hide from the zombie Rabbid and enjoy their treats when they came across a large machine. It was one of those machines that had lots of snacks inside. So what did Rabbids do? Did they keep running to stay safe? Of course not. They stopped and tried to get some snacks out of the machine. And, as usually occurs when Rabbids put their heads in vending machines, one of them got stuck. The other pulled and pulled, but the Rabbid wouldn't budge. Thankfully, they had help. Another mysterious Rabbid caught up to them and helped them pull. Pop, the Rabbid, was free. The Rabbids went to thank whoever had helped them. Bwah, homa, homa, the Rabbid said, extending his arm for a handshake. But oh no, it wasn't just any Rabbid helping them. It was the zombie Rabbid. The two Rabbids ran away screaming. Again. On their way, they dropped one of the donuts in front of the group of three Rabbids. One was still wearing a cereal box on his head. The three Rabbids licked their lips and closed in on the treat. What do you think happened to those Rabbids? We'll find out soon. Meanwhile, the two Rabbids had found the perfect hiding place. It was cool. It was bright. It had a door to keep the zombie Rabbid out. They were finally safe to eat some green, delicious-looking round things. Uh-oh. One of the Rabbids bit into one, and then he turned into another zombie Rabbid. The other Rabbid grabbed the rest of the green, delicious-looking round things and bolted out of the hiding place. Now he was alone against two zombie Rabbids. He dove under a shelf. Surely the zombie Rabbids couldn't get to him here. Chapter 5. The zombie Rabbids everywhere. And his plan would have worked had he been quiet. But the Rabbid couldn't resist eating what he found on the floor underneath the shelf. a deliciously tasty stale pretzel. Crunch! The zombie rabbits followed the noise. They closed in on our dear rabbit. He had no choice but to run away. Again! But everywhere the rabbit turned, there were more and more zombie rabbits coming for him. The group of 3 now zombie rabbits shuffled over to him. The rabbit had no other choice but to run outside away from them all. He finally stopped running when he found a nice trash bin to hide it behind. It smelled disgusting, but the rabbit liked it. Chapter 6. You are what you eat. The rabbit looked down at the box he was holding. There was one green, deliciously looking round thing left. He was the luckiest rabbit in the world, but not quite yet. The zombie rabbits were still coming. There was only one more place where the rabbit could go. He could escape by climbing on top of the trash bin. The zombie rabbits surrounded the trash bin, but they couldn't reach him. Zombie rabbits can't jump, you see. Finally, the rabbit could take his long-awaited bite. He opened his mouth wide and chomped down. Oh, no. And that's the end of our story. Thanks for reading with Mr. Johnathan. We'll see you next time.